Officer, why are they able to make threats unfettered? Why do they have total impunity out here? They've attacked me, they pepper sprayed me, nothing has happened.
This is absolutely insane. It's mayhem. The Muslims are allowed to do whatever they want with impunity. The officers haven't arrested any of them. There's been repeated assaults. Haley, your shoes are tied. I feel like a dhimmi, a second-class citizen, which is what Christians are in the majority of Muslim countries. And I know rank-and-file officers in pretty much every city usually want to take care of these problems. You're the one giving the orders, Mr. Mayor. These guys definitely want to do something about them. They're business. Look at them. These guys are all business. Your orders.
So let's discuss today a rather shocking situation that unfolded last night as a group of peaceful Christian protesters were violently assaulted, attacked, and even threatened with death and public execution by angry Islamic residents as the pro-Sharia local government and police sat back, watched, and allowed it all to happen. You're probably hearing that headline and thinking to yourself, oh, surely this must have been in the Middle East or Nigeria or even the UK. But no, what if I told you that was exactly the situation right here in the United States in a town that you might have heard of by the name of Dearborn, Michigan. This is a now infamous place that has been undeniably very much changed by mass immigration. It's a place that now is majority Islamic and Arabic, but of course, the common tagline was, oh, but they'll assimilate, right? In a couple generations, you're just going to have peace-loving Americans. And it turns out, I mean, whatever you think of that idea or how idealistic it might sound, this is simply just not the reality happening here in this country. And last night, we indeed did see that, right? A group of Christians tried to show up and do a protest against Islamification. And in a true First Amendment fashion, oh, wait, they don't really respect that. They don't understand the tradition of peaceful protests in America. A group of the local residents just show up and start violently fighting and trying to attack them and threatening them with death. And then, I kid you not, this police sit back and watch as journalists, as protesters try to go to the police and say, hey, you know, these Islamic residents are violently attacking us. Please step in and do something. The police are like, no, we can't help you. Sorry, we don't actually care. People are getting pepper sprayed. People are getting punched. Rocks are thrown at them. And the police in this very coincidentally, right, majority Islamic town seem a lot more like they're functioning as Sharia police than Western ones, do they not? But of course, they call this a conspiracy theory, right? If you speculate that over time, right, if you import massive populations of, you know, people from that part of the world and they don't assimilate, then inevitably expect the policing, expect the local government, expect the place a lot to look like the Middle East. No, that's crazy. That would never happen. Oh, indeed, it is happening. And we also got to give you an update on the angry and insane Islamist mayor of that town because he got called out for this in the city council meeting by journalist Cam Higbee, and we'll show you that as well. But yeah, crazy situation overall last night in Dearborn, Michigan. Let's get into it, folks. First, do us a favor. If you enjoy our content, make sure you hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. That is not only the best way to support our work, but it also ensures that you can stay up to date with all of the latest news and coverage. And that said, I want to first of all start by reminding everyone, we did speak about this, but the kind of social situation around Dearborn that has triggered these conversations of, say, a Sharia takeover or, hey, this should not be happening in the United States. Because again, in this supposedly peaceful town where, you know, the Muslim people are just trying to live their lives, right? No one is trying to infringe on you. Let's all just coexist together. Of course, the anger has recently erupted after, I kid you not, the local county is naming roads, naming streets after Islamic terrorists, and they're blasting Islamic calls to prayer across the city. And if you express any concern about that to the Islamic mayor, take a look at what happens.
I mean, Hezbollah, bombed the embassy in Beirut, and including many Americans. So I just feel it's quite inappropriate.
You are an Islamophobe, and although you live here, I want you to know as mayor, you are not welcome here. And the day you move out of the city will be the day that I launch a parade celebrating the fact that you moved out of the city, because you are not somebody who believes in coexistence.
So you got that, buddy? Don't be an Islamophobe. If you're a Christian American who probably has several generations of family who have lived in Michigan, and you're not really happy that the roads are being named after Hezbollah and people connected to that organization. You're not welcome here. I want you to know we're going to drive you out of the city. This is our city now. That's what he's saying. And how dare you not believe in coexistence, as they, of course, spit on the idea of coexistence by renaming American roads to anti-American figures. And of course, as I said again, and it's a real thing, blasting Islamic prayer calls across the city. But this is what you constantly hear from people like this mayor, from Mehdi Hassan, Zoran Mamdani, and others, right? If you're not cool, if you're not down with our radical Islamification and Shariaification of your places like Sadiq Khan and others, right? Then you're just an Islamophobe. How dare you be a bigot as we like quite literally violently take over a place? Yeah. Sure. They play the victim about everything. You can see it many such cases. But anyways, that said, I do now want to bring you the situation that unfolded last night, where a group of Christian Americans decided to hold a protest. They called it a protest of Americans Against Islamification, basically not happy with the state of Dearborn and what is going on in that place. And it was met with counter protests, as you could expect. And, well, let's just see how lovely and peaceful this all is going to turn out, right? Because after all, remember, right? The Muslim residents of Dearborn totally believe in coexistence, okay? And they just want to be left alone and nobody's, talking about Shariaification of anything. And yet the Christian people show up and start expressing their beliefs. And then let's see how the residents respond.
I believe they're going to cancel the 6:30 City Hall meeting because everybody's chimping the fuck out. They're chimping the fuck out. I don't have bananas. Chill out. I don't have bananas. This is not America. This is an insurgency. They are taking over our country. They're taking over our country.
Yeah, so again, I would just like to remind everyone that this is not Lebanon, this is not Syria, this is not even the Islamic Emirate of Britain, as much as Americans like to make fun of their problems with this. This is right here in the United States of America. You have hordes of people, primarily young teenagers, right, marching through the streets chanting Allahu Akbar. Of course, as a small band of woke progressives cheers them on and marches with them, right? We talk all the time about the Red-Green Alliance, okay? The way in which you have those useful idiot leftists who basically view the jihadis as their allies because both are violent civilizational arsonists who want to topple the West. So we understand that fully. But surely, of course, right? Let's remember, guys. Let's remember what Mehdi Hassan and others constantly tell us. Don't be Islamophobic, okay? Allahu Akbar, you just need to be educated. Don't you know that just means God is great? Right? So it's a peaceful slogan. Oh, really? Okay, let's resume about like 30 seconds ahead where we now have these very pro-Muslim protesters calling for the anti-Muslim protesters and even Cam Higby, the journalist here, to get killed. And I quote, I hope Jake, the organizer of the event, gets Charlie kirked, and even says to the journalist here who's just trying to document the event as well, I hope you get Charlie kirked.
Why do you hope that? You hope he gets killed because you don't like him? What? That's yeah. You hope he gets killed because you don't like him? Yeah? Is that what Muslims believe? Oh, well, you're a Muslim, right? And you believe it. Why? Do you think maybe it's a value problem?
Oh, really? But I thought they were just saying God is great. I thought these were just a bunch of peaceful people in a peaceful town. How could that possibly be the case? But no, surely he was just joking, right? No, absolutely not, because as you could expect, at a place where you're hearing a lot of death threats, you had open violence erupt on the streets. For example, the organizer here, as you can see, Jake Lang, gets violently assaulted by this person right next to him, just walking around, right? They're marching, punches, runs off, right? Cam Higby as well reports that he was pepper sprayed and maced by another one of the, religion of peace protesters. Remember that it's all about the religion of peace. And then take a look at this exchange here, because you might be thinking, okay, surely it's just a few crazy lunatics, right? But, if you go to the police, because this is the United States after all, the police have an obligation to protect free speech, don't they? Maybe outside of Portland, but still, surely everything will be sorted out. right? There's a violent assault that had just occurred, and you know, I believe mainstream media. I believe the propaganda that people call me Islamophobic if I don't believe. So therefore, right, the police surely will step in and do something, and they're definitely not a bunch of like Sharia police officers who are representing the same town and the same values as the people who are punching the Christians out in the streets in the United States, right? That couldn't be the case. Well, take a look at what happens here as Cam Higbee tries to tell this Dearborn, Michigan police officer about what happened, right? He just got pepper sprayed, and this scumbag just refuses to take any report. Check it out.
My main issue here is that you said I could go into the station later and file a report. He's in black bloc. You're never going to find him again. You will never find him again. The detective will not find him. I promise you, I've been in this situation before. You're never going to find him. He's masked head to toe. You will never find him again. Yeah, that is shitty police work. It's lazy. So you know that a crime happened, and you're going to let it slide because why? Then go arrest him.
He's right there, by the way. Like he's literally, the suspect is still on the street. But of course, this scumbag police officer, he's not even a police. I mean, he's a good police officer for Afghanistan, I guess, right? Definitely not a good police officer for the United States. But anyways, he basically is just going to say, well, go file a police report. Why is that? Because he knows that the guy will never be caught. And they don't, look at him. Look at his face, by the way. He's like smiling. He's like laughing at a journalist who just got pepper sprayed. Why? Because, you know, again, it's not just about a few crazy lunatics in the streets. This is how the town feels. If that's what the police officers are like, the police chief, by the way, is like, the mayor is like, they're acting very similar. They have the same temperament as the crazy lunatics, assaulting people and chanting Allahu Akbar out in the streets, then what's the conclusion of all of this supposed to be? Yeah, clearly there is an Islamist Sharia takeover happening in parts of this country, okay? And if we're not careful about it, if we don't bring light to it, then we're going to end up like the UK is right now, you know? And maybe that's why they're so angry, by the way, right? Finally, there's a protest here. Finally, journalists are coming here. They're actually shining a light, and that it's happening in America. And we're not conspiracy theorists, and we're not Islamophobes. We're reacting to actual things that people are doing, and institutionally, the local government is supporting. Because, again, look at the mayor, look at this police officer.
Okay, find me somebody who can. Okay, yeah, find the police report after he's gone and you'll never find him again. This is lazy police work. You are a lazy police officer. Or you just don't want to get him. One of the two.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm going to be reporting that police officer to the I'll get his name and badge number real quick. Before we leave, I'm going to get his name and badge number. Oh, I thought he couldn't leave his post. He's gone. He's not even here anymore.
He said he couldn't leave his post to go arrest that guy, and then he leaves his post. Utter scumbag.
Couldn't leave his post. We're going to go right over there. We're going to say hi to him. We're going to get his name and badge number before we leave. Hey, officer! Who couldn't leave his post. Here he is running. Officer! Officer who couldn't leave your post. Can I get name and badge number real quick?
Yeah, so let's certainly not play dumb. We know exactly what is happening in that video and why. We understand that police officer is intentionally trying to support the violent attackers that, again, just pepper sprayed this guy. His name, by the way, is Al-Alabd, which I'm sure is a complete and total coincidence. Definitely does not reflect any wider type of trend in the city. And you'll start to see this more. I mean, it's far from an isolated case. So, I mean, sure, I'll go report his name and badge number. But what do you do when the local police department, all he's doing is enforcing the policy, right? So I want people to understand, it's not a few bad apples. It's like, this is the policy. This is the overall culture of the entire town. And here's Cam following up. Dearborn police are allowing mass protesters to act with impunity. Police by then had watched multiple violent attacks and have done nothing. Anyone who tries to file a report with them are told the same line. Oh, go to the police station where we're never going to catch the person, but we refuse to take down any information or take down the person who we all just sat back and watched do it. This might be even worse than the way it is in Portland, quite frankly.
This is absolutely insane. It's mayhem. The Muslims are allowed to do whatever they want with impunity. The officers haven't arrested any of them. There's been repeated assaults. I was Haley, your shoes are tied. I was bear sprayed or pepper sprayed, OC sprayed, whatever. Jake got sprayed. They didn't do anything. He just got punched in the face, and an officer watched it, did nothing. They're all masked up. They say go to the station later. If this isn't Sharia police, I don't know what is. They just watched Jake get hit in the head, did nothing. They gave him, punched him right in the face. I'm just gonna make a recommendation to you. If I was you, I would start arresting people as soon as they touch people, because if you don't, you guys are gonna be the reason Trump deploys the National Guard here. That's not a threat. I'm just telling you, you don't want to be the reason that happens. Because if you don't police like you're supposed to, he will do it. I promise you he'll do it. Officer, why are they able to make threats unfettered? Why do they have total impunity out here? They've attacked me, they pepper sprayed me, nothing has happened. They punched Jake in the face, they sprayed Jake. They have total impunity.
This is the best police department here. In the state of Michigan, that's right. Nobody beats Dearborn police.
Head to toe, you'll never find him. You'll never find the suspect again. If I go to the police station, he's gonna leave. Yeah. And you'll never be able to make an arrest. That's why I go on, please go talk to him. At least detain him for a second while I file a report with you. He said he can't leave his post. I called him 5 minutes later on a personal call in the parking lot. He said he couldn't leave his post.
And on top of getting maced, I mean, they broke your phone, they took one of your
sticks. They broke my phone, they stole my mic, they stole my stick, yeah.
So that's theft, and obviously it's
robbery.
And what led up to that moment?
He was chasing down, harassing and touching a guy in an America First hat. Said he's not welcome there, and I asked him why he's not welcome on a public sidewalk. And then he got in my face and he was gonna take my camera. He went chest to chest with me and touched me. I pushed him back and he maced me.
Yeah, no, they are Sharia police. And it's funny because on my timeline today, I saw a bunch of like leftists and moderates trying to defend it. Oh, I've been to Dearborn before. It's not really like that. This is all right-wing propaganda. Dude, we just watched everything happen on camera. It wasn't like one assault, one crazy person. It was mobs of people, the police allowing it to happen with impunity. Your propaganda here actually is not going to work, okay? Calling us Islamophobic when we're all seeing exactly what happens when Christians try to exist in Sharia places in the United States of America. Turns out they don't really have so much respect for the First Amendment, do they? It turns out that you're talking about a lot of people here who are not assimilating into American values. They don't really love this country, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, in fact, no, they're just, actually, I would maybe argue behaving even worse than some places in the Middle East. Because frankly, if you're a white guy and you go to, say, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, places like that for a vacation, and some native Muslim resident assaulted you, the police would freaking arrest that guy. Okay, so honestly, was actually worse, let's be clear, than many places actually in the Middle East. But nonetheless, okay, that said, Cam Higbee does show up here to the city council to confront the mayor of Dearborn, Michigan. That is right, this exact lunatic right here. So let's grab our popcorn and watch what happens next.
I'm a journalist. I'm not a protester. This is my badge, okay? Today on the streets of Dearborn, I was pepper sprayed, maced by protesters because I asked them simply why they were harassing and touching another individual who had stated repeatedly that he was only on their side of the street to talk to them and have a dialogue. My phone was smashed. You can see the broken camera right there. They stole $50 out of my pocket and they stole my microphone receiver. I went and I told one of your officers, badge number 3668, that this had happened. He told me there was nothing that could be done about it unless I went to the station. I told him, I can't go to the station. I'm working, I'm doing my job. He said, I'm working too. I said, yeah, and your job is to protect me and all of the people that are out here today, okay? So we said that I could go into the station later. I told him, you're never gonna catch the guy if I go into the station later. He's gonna leave. He's dressed head to toe in black bloc. I filmed the whole thing, but he had a mask on his face. You'll never, ever get an opportunity to arrest that person ever again if you don't go and get him right now. He said, sir, I can't leave my post. 5 minutes later, I caught him in the parking lot on a personal phone call, okay? Repeatedly today, I watched people that are in this room get attacked by other people that are in this room. I watched your officers not respond to those attacks repeatedly. Then I saw somebody who was in this group, which again, I'm a journalist. I'm just documenting what's going on, and I'm here to tell you what's going on. I saw somebody in this group get arrested. I asked the officers, habeas corpus, please articulate probable cause for arresting this person. They refused to. I asked name and badge number. They refused to give me their name.
Well, don't forget, Cam, habeas corpus is a Western and American idea. So it doesn't exist in the Middle East, where you apparently currently are, right? And you're saying, oh, this is America. We should have habeas corpus. Hey, don't be Islamophobic, you know? Sharia just means law. So you oppose Sharia, you know, you're just opposed to the law. Yeah, they basically get to live however they want. Doesn't matter. You know, respecting American laws, respecting the Constitution. Don't be Islamophobic, buddy. The concept of America, our Constitution, our government, our customs, free speech, all of those concepts, keep in mind, Cam, are Islamophobic. And of course, right, you might say, okay, if it's Islamophobic, then like don't be in these countries. Like just like go live in the Middle East. No, you're also Islamophobic for saying that, as we so often hear from these people. Anyways.
Name and badge number as a member of the press with my badge clearly displayed. They would not tell me why they were arresting this person. They just did it, okay? Yesterday.
But let's melt down over ICE, right, guys? Due process, unless it's a Sharia police, elected Democrats.
I was exploring Dearborn. I came here just to document this from Seattle as a journalist, okay? I was exploring Dearborn. I walked up and down Michigan Avenue. There wasn't very many people out. Then we wanted to hear the call to prayer that we've heard so much about. So we went to a mosque. And at that mosque, I was followed by a drone. If I moved forward, the drone moved forward. If I went backwards, the drone went backwards. I went to a gas station, and that drone waited outside of the gas station, just above the door, for me to leave so it could begin following me again. I was followed by vehicles, and I was followed by individuals on foot. There was a lot of talk in here today about sexism. So I'd like to quote the Prophet Muhammad. Okay? One of my favorite quotes from the Prophet Muhammad. A woman's testimony is worth half that of a man's due to the deficiency of her mind. God created two sexes, one superior and one inferior. That's why your women wear hijabs, because they're inferior to men. That's why in most Muslim countries they can't leave their homes without permission of a male guardian. Is my time up?
You have 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Oh, 30 seconds.
Yeah,
okay, great.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I shouldn't feel like a dhimmi in my country. That's what I feel like in Dearborn, Michigan. It doesn't feel like home. I feel like a dhimmi, a second-class citizen, which is what Christians are in the majority of Muslim countries. Dhimmis. Second-class citizens. And the policing in this city, that's exactly what happens. And I know rank-and-file officers in pretty much every city usually want to take care of these problems. You're the one giving the orders, Mr. Mayor. These guys definitely want to do something about them. They're business. Look at them. These guys are all business. Your orders. I'm done.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
And by the way, there you have something I didn't even know about Dearborn, which is that if you try to go to a mosque as a non-Muslim, they'll literally have a drone just follow you around the neighborhood, right? Which seems to me to be highly illegal, but of course that insinuates that the law of this country and of the state of Michigan actually applies to Muslim people in Dearborn, Michigan, which surely it does not, as you can tell. And so yes, Cam is absolutely correct. Much like Christians are treated in the Middle East, they are second-class citizens in Dearborn. As you could clearly see, there's rampant evidence of, right? The police will not protect them. They will be constantly attacked by the local residents, oftentimes physically, threatened with death, threatened with public execution, much like they do in a certain other place. And after all, why should we be all that surprised, actually? Because, I mean, let's just think about it for a moment, right? Be real. If you import a large number of people from a certain place into your place, over time, that place is going to look like the place they came from, right? Like, here's the thing about assimilation that's important for people to understand. It's one thing if you have a neighborhood of 10 people and you have one immigrant move in, right? So the other 9 people are still the overwhelming majority. Naturally, that immigrant's probably going to have to assimilate to the customs around them. And, you know, things can work out. It can be fine. You know, what it is, right? But when you have a neighborhood of 10 people and 10 immigrants move to the neighborhood, that's a 50-50 majority. Why would the immigrants, from the same place, by the way, so why would the immigrants all assimilate when they can just, coerce amongst each other? And then even further, right? What happens if 20 immigrants move to a neighborhood of 10 people? Then Assimilation into what? The immigrant population is the majority, okay? The reason I'm bringing up that analogy is because I think people ought to understand and for once finally be honest about this, right? Like, we can sell all the slogans we want about, say, the melting pot or assimilation or treating everyone equally, right? And yeah, some immigrants genuinely buy that, but as I've been trying to say, right, this is the problem with our immigration system. First of all, it's a game of numbers, right? As I said, you can't expect assimilation when the people who are supposed to assimilate are actually the majority of the population. Then the other half is going to have to assimilate to them, right? But okay, fine. But secondly, and perhaps more importantly, especially in a place like Dearborn, Michigan, understand that in order to have assimilation or the melting pot, that has to be a mutual consensus, right? If the American society is going to say, okay, we welcome you in, and please, you can keep, a lot of your own type of life, whatever you want to do. It's a free society, but assimilate to our norms generally, like come and, respect who we are, right? And you bring those people in. But those people who came in did not sign that contract saying, oh, I'll actually respect those norms. Understand, right? It's not a mutual consensus. They don't want to come here, assimilate, and be part of the American dream and the melting pot. No, their stated goal is to take over, right? They're saying that. What do you think is happening when they're chanting Allahu Akbar out in the streets, right? And you have residents here, as it happened at other points in the city council meeting, openly talking about how actually Sharia law is a good thing. And then you have Sharia law and the police and all this stuff. Yeah, obviously, right? The myth of the beauty of the melting pot and immigration is not the reality in Michigan. And you're seeing it on the ground. And that said, I just want to finally close by pointing out that, there was a certain someone who they killed who tried to warn us about this, didn't he?
The question is macro Islam compatible with Western values? Macro. Of course it's not. There are three major reasons why. Islam does not believe in freedom of speech. Islam does not believe in freedom of religion, and Islam does not believe in separation of mosque and state. Those three things are antithetical to the West.
It's funny he should say that, because I could have sworn we just watched all of those things play out in front of our own eyes in a place called Dearborn, Michigan. And by the way, where that was recorded, the United Kingdom, it happens every single day. But surely we're just conspiracy theorists, right? I don't know, but that's yet another reason why he was so important to the American right and why we still miss him. Because a lot of things he tried to warn us about, let me just say. But that said, let me know your thoughts. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and until next time, God bless and peace.